Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Good morning to you. Happy Odin's Day and hail Odin the Wise. Now let's take a peek at today's astrology. The sun will be in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing compassion. The moon is in the first quarter Taurus, a fixed earth sign representing industriousness. Mercury is in Aries, a cardinal fire sign representing alertness. Venus is in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing compassion. Mars is in Aquarius, a fixed earth air sign representing staid energy. Jupiter is in Taurus, a fixed earth sign representing practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing nostalgia. Uranus is in Taurus, a fixed earth sign representing renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing the imagination. And Pluto is in Aquarius, a fixed air sign representing reformation. So much the same as yesterday. The moon, of course, is still in that first quarter waxing crescent. Haven't already set your intentions? Put them into motion. Start working towards your goals for this moon cycle. Again, for the Taurus moon, do stay grounded, do set realistic goals, and do avoid distractions. Avoid fast-paced tasks. Avoid anything that requires snap decisions, and do not go around trying to change people's minds. The Tauruses are not known for their flexibility, so definitely don't push it as long as the moon is in this particular placement. But it is the day of Mercury, and of course, the energy of Mercury makes us communicative, sometimes aggressively so when it is sitting, as it is now, in the sign of Aries. So the challenge of today is to use this energy to further our concerns, but also to refrain from meddling in the affairs of other people. Say what you need to say, but make sure it is confined to things that are actually your own business and not things that have to do with that of other people's. So our tarot card for today is the Knight of Swords. Now, knights, of course, are messengers. They are dynamic and they represent confidence. The suit of swords is air, projective energy, and the intellect. And the key words for this particular card are authority, good judgment, and being opinionated. You can see how what we just said a moment ago about being careful about the manner in which we communicate being rather important today, because the Knight of Swords is reinforcing that particular theme. Sometimes being opinionated, it isn't always good to mention that in our outside voice. Maybe we need to keep it in here, at least until we are in a slightly different astrological configuration. I mean, of course, exercise your best judgment. And yet there are times when sometimes things just need to be said in any way they happen to come out, whether people's feelings are hurt or not. But too often, this really becomes an excuse for just really shitty behavior. I mean, I'm sure you've seen this all over in social media. I'm sure you have experienced this in real life. People say, I just say what I think. I'm a straight shooter and this and that. I'm like, "Yeah, okay, but or maybe you never thought you had to learn manners because you thought that people would just admire you for your fearless honesty so much that you would never be called upon to soften any of your words or consider that there might be less brutal ways of communicating the same ideas. So that's just something for us to bear in mind today as we go through it. Our triad for today's reads three things which the industrious will gain: precedence, wealth, and praise from the wise. So precedence, essentially to have precedence is to have respect, to occupy a higher station in life, or to be in a good position within the established hierarchy of a social group of any kind. That is what it means to have precedence. You go first, you are considered to be of greater importance. That is something that you will gain if you are a hard worker. Wealth. Another thing that hard worker gains, because it is very fitting that we should keep the rewards that come from the product of one's work. And when you think about a lot of the debate around politics, it is the fury because people are not being able to keep what they have earned, what is rightfully and properly there. And it's being spent on things that they gave no authorization to and would never approve of. So if you want to kind of take that debate in more spiritual terms, essentially what it is it's violating this principle. People have worked hard, but they're not keeping the fruits of that labor. They're not able to keep the money. They're not able to purchase the things that they would want or that they would need to have. They don't have the freedom of that because you have a bunch of bureaucrats who think that they're more entitled to people's money than the people who earned it. So if you happen to come across that debate today, just keep this in mind. This is at isn't right. Our pagan ancestors knew that it isn't right to separate people from their money without just cause, and that really hasn't changed. We are still human beings. We are still feeling these things instinctively. Another thing that the industrious will gain is praise from the wise. In other words, you would have good opinions from those from the kind of people whose respect is actually worth having. It means nothing to have respect from a fool. For to begin with, a fool is often not really capable of showing respect because that is part of the product of foolishness. They don't know what's important and what isn't. But from the people who actually are of a character that it's worth what they think of you. It matters. There's something about them to where they are of such good character that if they think well of you, that does have meaning and that does have weight. And this is something that we can actually earn through our hard work, whatever form that work happens to take. Now, today's magical intention is imagination. So, if you have been struggling with any creative blocks lately, these correspondences may just help you out. The color is yellow, and I would just like to mention how aggressive the color yellow really is, but it also is very stimulating. You're around the yellow, you're looking at the yellow, you are favoring things that have a lot of yellow in them. It is making things happen within your creative self. The plant is jasmine. This wouldn't be the worst day to have a little bit of jasmine tea, especially if you're having to type something up or you're doing whatever it is that you do and it's not going very well and you just need a new idea. Have a little bit of some jasmine tea and just see if that clears up the mental cobwebs and what you can create then. An animal that is associated with imagination is the mockingbird, which if you've ever heard the range of sounds that mockingbirds can have, it actually is quite impressive. My grandfather actually, at one point he encountered a mockingbird that learned how to mimic a washing machine. I mean, he was amazed by it even decades later. Incredible creatures. That's another product of imagination, being able to become something else. And then the crystal for this intention is aventurine. So the fires of imagination, they can be stoked with these correspondences. And again, if you've been suffering any kind of creative blocks or you just cannot see your way through these things, make use of these energies, look up others that are in the same vein, and use your skills to improve your situation. So, for today's practice, you might consider getting a new houseplant just to improve the atmosphere of your home. Now, make sure you know what the kind of environment the plant needs so that you can actually let it live and not kill it as soon as you get it home. But there is something about having a living, breathing plant that just raises everything up a little bit. And again, the suggestion to brew a cup of jasmine tea to combat problematic communication or, to combat creative blocks. The jasmine tea is a wonderful thing. Sometimes it's just nice to have. There's a reason why it's so popular. Another thing you might do today is offer to Athena for guidance if you absolutely cannot avoid conflict. Remember, she is a goddess of righteous war as well as of wisdom. So if you are bringing yourself into alignment with her, for one, you can make sure that you're not going into a conflict without proper cause. And that if you are having to go into some sort of conflict, that you are conducting it with wisdom and you're not just flailing around ineffectively. Another thing you might do is study Marcus Aurelius's meditations in order to calm your spirit and carry jasper in your pocket. The jasper stone is tremendous for absorbing all kinds of energy that you just don't want in your system at a particular moment. And I leave you with daffodils amongst trees today. And I'd like you to imagine yourself in a field of daffodils or visit a real one if you can, because some people have, just kind of, they have scattered the bulbs of daffodils around. So if you are nearby to any place like that and you're allowed to be there and you can just walk amongst them and enjoy it, I mean, absolutely do that. And if you can't, just Ask yourself, what do you think it would be like to soak in the energies? Because daffodils, they are like drops of sunlight, and not just drops of sunlight. They are aggressive little things. I've seen them bloom through snow. I've seen them bloom through eyes. They're like, if you want to kill me, you're going to have to try a little harder. There's something wonderfully defiant about them. There's something wonderfully defiant about the color yellow too. So use this properly. Use it well. And just see how it might affect you. You might be surprised. And of course, that will do it for today's daily forecast. Leave your thoughts for me in the comment section below, or drop me an email at brigantiablackbird at protonmail.com, and I'll have a conversation with you there, whatever you prefer. But that'll do it for now, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.